That's time stamped. So Churos over on Twitch just asked the question, will there be anything for us solo PvE players to do in the deep desert, or is that zone inaccessible for us? So all you have to do is pull up your social tab and go to the lands rad, and you can see all of these activities. I'm going to put the controller down and do this on mouse and keyboard right now. So each one of these, and remember, there are around 400 activities, according to Joel, that will populate every single week. Not 400 every single week, there's 400 activities that the lands rad can pull from that it will populate this with every single week. So there's however many are here. There's 5 times 5. 5 times 5? There's 25 activities every single week. And there's 400 activities-ish that can be a pool of activities that can be pulled from to put here. The vast majority, and I mean vast majority, are PvE activities. So, the deep desert, big, huge open zone. Lots of space. Lots of resources. Lots of spice blows. Lots of control points. Lots of Imperial testing stations, eco labs. Lots of things. Every single week. The one in the middle is always a spice related activity. That's going to require a guild. You're probably not going to want to try to do that as a solo PvE player. As you've seen in the Livestream 4 video from Funcom, or the Landsrad Endgame videos that they've produced and published, which I have covered in my Dune Awakening playlist down below if you're watching on YouTube right now. If you're on Twitch, make sure to go to YouTube, check out the Dune Awakening playlist. You'll find what you're looking for. The middle one is always a spice activity. That's when guilds go in with their spice harvesters, their persons on bikes running around and dropping thumpers to distract the worms, all that stuff. So that's a group activity. Then there are, I'm looking for it here. This is a kill quest, per Atreides killed. Okay, that's probably going to be a PvP related activity. Deliver Omnistat compactors, crafting, PvE. Deliver sand trout leathers, PvE crafting. Deliver spice infused iron dust, you'll need spice. However you get that spice is up to you. Deliver swords, crafting. Deliver guns, crafting. Deliver heal kits, crafting. Kill troops, PvE, PvP probably. Deliver belts, crafting. Deliver compressors, crafting. Deliver opal fire gem, crafting. Deliver guns, crafting. Deliver ornithopters, crafting. Somewhere in here was a control point. Kill deserters. That's probably PvE because it's deserters, not Harkonnen house soldiers. By the way, Harkonnen house soldiers might not be PvP players. Anyway, somewhere in here, I don't see it at the moment. There were some control points in here that maybe it refreshed. Anyway, the point is, all of these activities are commands. You cannot claim activities if you are a solo player. You must be part of a guild, but you can form your own guild. So if you're going to participate in the Landsrad, you need to be a part of a guild, or you have to be a solo guild who is going to claim one of these tasks. And then you can go do that test. If you are a solo PvE player, and let's say you've formed your own guild, and you're a one-man show, you can absolutely come here and say, I'm going to claim this quest, which has me crafting House Vulcan GAU 92. And you get X amount of points for every single one of those that you deliver. So as a solo player, you are going to go out and you are going to harvest the necessary resources to make those weapons, or you're going to buy those off the exchange, the resources. Will you need to go out into the deep desert to harvest? Depends on if you have the coin to buy it off the exchange, or if you're going to go out in the deep desert and harvest. If you go out in the deep desert and harvest, you are going to run the risk of potentially meeting up with other players. Previously discussed is that Every single player in the game, by the time you've gotten to the end game, you've got shields, you've got an ornithopter, you have ways of getting away. If you do not want to participate in PvP, run. It's not that difficult to avoid PvP. The reality is most guilds are going to be occupying control points because it's the best way for guilds to get points, or they're going to be going for the spice blows, which is the most lucrative. There will probably be griefing teams of 3 to 5 people who go around looking for solo crafters to try to take out. But what's the point? You don't get their gear. There is no gear drops in the PvP in this game. The only thing you drop when you die is a little bit of inventory and a little bit of coin. Not all your inventory, not all your coin, and none of your gear. So we don't know until we get there as solo PvE players whether or not it's going to be super risky to harvest. But from what has been discussed, it should be fairly easy for us solo PvE players to run around the outskirts of the deep desert, far, far, far away from the control points, far, far, far away from the spice blows, and harvest lots of the T6 resources around the edges of the desert, and then bring those back and craft things to deliver to earn points in the Landsrad and contribute to the end game. Now, what will you not be able to do as a solo PvE player? Well, you won't be doing any of the eco labs. Sorry. The eco labs in the deep desert are designed for 4 players, 4-player teams, and they are PvP dungeons. You will not be going into a PvP dungeon as a solo player because you will get wrecked by the mobs because they are geared for 4 players, and there will be other players in those dungeons also competing for the Imperial schematics. So if you want the schematics that come out of those Imperial testing stations eco labs, you will need to go with a group and you will need to flag and deal with PvP. Or you save a bunch of Solaris and you buy those recipes off of the broker when those players come out and say, you know what, I already have that recipe. I don't need it. I'm going to sell it on the broker, on the exchange. And then you as a player can go buy that. So yes, there are lots of things that you can do as a solo PvE player. You could take out enemy soldiers. You could take out enemy, like the deserters one. You want to claim the deserters one? Where I saw it in here somewhere. Like kill deserters. It was in here somewhere. Um, like, oh, here it is. This one. If you want to take the one that's kill deserters, do it. Then you can run around and kill deserters. That doesn't, that's not PvP, but you're going to be in a PvP zone with the potential for other people to disrupt you. That's the risk we take by going into the deep desert. But yes, there are lots of activities. Here's the thing though. The things that they're having you craft at that level, as an example, Holtzman Shield Mark V. I already know what it takes to make a Mark III. I don't know what it takes to make a Mark V, but I can imagine the amount of resources it takes to make a Mark V shield. That's a boatload of resource harvesting. So if that's really what the PvE solo Landsrad stuff is going to look like. Is going to be a lot of harvesting and crafting. That's it. There will be the occasional kill quest that you can do to take out deserters and things like that, but you won't be doing control points. You won't be doing spice blows. You're not going to be doing any of those as a solo player. And you also have to just accept that your contribution to the Landsrad as a solo player is going to be minuscule compared to the guilds, because they'll be able to get the 70,000 points by completing a Landsrad task within a week. You as a solo player, there is no way I don't see a way that you're going to be able to complete and get 70,000 points by the end of a week. Because you're solo harvesting, you're solo crafting, you only have so many facilities to harvest, produce, refine ore, craft the things. All of that takes resources and time and water and ore and all that stuff. So, yes, there are lots of things that solo PvE players can do at the end game in Dune Awakening, but it's going to be majorly time consuming and a lot slower than people who are in a guild. So, if you end up liking the Landsrad and having fun doing that in-game gameplay loop, I would suggest finding a PvE oriented guild, but also understand that there is not going to be there are in no way, shape, or form are big guilds going to be able to survive in the deep desert if they are PvP only. You still need a team of harvesters. You still need a team of crafters because the resources that you burn every week to send your ornithopters out, to build the bases, to fuel the generators, all of that resource consumption has to come from somewhere. It doesn't come from killing NPCs. It doesn't come from killing other players. It comes from going out in your mining rigs and your ornithopters and harvesting nodes and setting up wind turrets and getting water production and storing it in cisterns and moving that to the new base. So yes, lots of things for solo players to do, but more than likely, if you really want to get into the Lands Red, you're going to end up wanting to join a guild long term. That is the multiplayer focus of the game.